Okay, now we're going to do the frontal polar coronal plane. Okay, so in this, with these marks, we're going to finish the FP1 and FP2 electrode location marks. Okay, so what you have to do first is you have to make a coronal plane, or I'm sorry, a circumferential measurement of the head. So we're going to be measuring around the head. And what you do is you run your tape right through the FPZ transverse mark. You run it right through the T3 bipolar mark. You run it right through the OZ transverse mark. And you run it right through the T4 bipolar mark. So take your tape and put it right through. You put it right on the right over the FPZ mark. Then you run it over the T4 mark, okay? And then you run it over the OZ mark right there, like this. See, it's running over OZ. Then you run it through the T4 mark, and then you run it right back to the edge there of the tape. Let me just get this. Not used to working with these mannequins. Wow, kind of difficult. Okay, so it's about got about 55. Okay, I got about 55. Okay, so what you do is the first thing you do is you split the nose, right? So you're going to put the bipolar mark right through the transverse mark at FPZ. So you're going to take and you're going to make a line right through the center of the head, or split the nose like that. Okay, usually you're going to be measuring when you're behind the patient, and they're probably going to be lying down most of the time. So you split the nose right there. So the distance between FP1 and FP2 is 10% of the circumferential measurement. So since we got 55, the distance between FP1 and FP2 should be the distance between FP1 and FP2 should be 5.5 centimeters. So what you have to do is you have to measure 5% of 5% on either side of this center line here. So 5% of the circumferential distance of 55 would be 2.75. So I put my tape right there, and I line up the 275 right with that center mark right there. So you can see a little better. Take 2.75, line it up with this mark right here, this mark, and then we're going to put a mark out here. Excuse me. Out here. And then we're going to put a mark here at 5.5. So it's 5% on this side and 5% on this side. Is that 5%? Yeah, looks pretty close. A little bit. Okay, and this here, is that 5%? Yeah. Okay, so there you have your bipolar marks at FP1 and FP2. FP1 and FP2. Now we can finish the markings for the FP1 and FP2 electrode by putting the transverse marks across here on the FP1 and FP2 bipolar marks. So what you do is you hold your tape. Even with the transverse mark at FPZ, and then you run the tape through the bipolar marks at FP1 and FP2, and you just simply draw the line along the tape line right through the bipolar marks. And there you go. You have FP1 and FP2 completed. Okay? So that's the frontal polar coronal plane.